Yeah. MD. JPB. It's only right, baby.
Yeah. Why you mad? I got a bad bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stuck, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go on, run it back.
You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this. Damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of Edition. I'm back here with another video, and today I am doing What If Naofumi was an Uchiha Part 8, if I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. But yeah, this is the 8th part. Remember, this will only be a continuation, not an actual new series. I ain't doing that shit. I literally can't. And I apologize for the squeakiness in my chair. You probably will hear that a lot. I really will try to keep that to a minimum. But yeah. So, without any further ado, because I know y'all been waiting for this, let's begin and go watch the entire playlist to catch up on this. I might have left some details out about Naofumi's character, but I did try my best to recollect everything that I could. So, I hope you guys still enjoy it. Alright, let's go. So, starting off from the last part, as Asuka, Raphtalia, Naofumi, and Melty fly through the sky with the Susanoo, they soon stop and land before them running away and starting to get away as far as they can from the fight they just had. As Asuka would then ask, "Master, are we still going to Silkveld?" And Naofumi would say, "Probably, but at this point, I just want to go back and destroy Malcolmark." Melty then stops running as she then asks, a little bit terrified, "You're not actually gonna do it, right?" Naofumi, however, does not give her an answer, telling her to keep up, and they start running again, when soon Naofumi senses something, and, his eternal Mangekyou activates, as he then sees someone hiding ahead. He then says, "Come out." Out from behind a tree, a shadow, an assassin on the Queen's command, would then come out, saying, "So, you saw through me." Melty is happy to see this man before then telling him that he must tell her mother what happened, and Melty would say this has escalated way too much. Raphtalia would then ask, what does the Queen expect us to do? And Naofumi would then cut her off, saying, "Nope, nope, nope, screw your Queen, I'm done. That woman must be out of her goddamn mind to leave this country in the hands of those psychos." Melty would then say, "Come on, Naofumi," as Naofumi says no. Do you people not understand the word no? I said it a lot. Go back, tell your Queen I'm going to Silkveld. Anyone who gets in my way dies. Don't worry, I'll protect Melty. I have nothing against her, but that was the last straw. The shadow then says, "I can understand your anger, but at the very least will you meet with the Queen?" And Naofumi says, "So she finally wants to meet after all these..." Sure, why not? The shadow then hands him a scroll and says that that has their location on it, before then disappearing, urging Naofumi to please protect Melty and also make the right choice. And Raphtalia then smells something, as does Asuka, and Naofumi then they all look back to see a huge fire on the mountain and that they were on, and this is when the sun starts to slowly rise, with Melty being shocked at what Mine is doing, and she's just surprised that she would really go that far to try and kill them. She's actually almost built burning the forest, that's what she's trying to do because she saw them land. And yeah, they start moving again, and they see a lot of demi-humans around, and this makes them realize that they're in a sort of town that actually accepts demi-humans. But then Raphtalia kind of has a traumatic flashback to her past, days, and Naofumi would say, "We're taking a detour." This always happens. Everyone in the season created a shadow clone who he hands the scroll before he then runs off into the forest, and Naofumi would then say, "Something's piquing my interest," but Raphtalia is saying, "Naofumi, you don't have to do this," and Naofumi says, "Oh no, I do. These episodes of yours keep leaving me on edge. At night you still do it sometimes, you know that, right? It's just intolerable and unbearable to see you in that much pain." And Asuka then says, "I noticed it too, but I thought maybe you were attacked by a spell." And Raphtalia is happy they care so much, despite, the fact that she has been bothering them with her screams. With Melty then saying there is actually a nice lord here who can shelter them while Naofumi does what he needs to do. And Naofumi says, "Yeah, I know him, that's why I wanted to stop." Melty would then say, "Wait, you do?" And Naofumi, while checking his storage, then said that he had given him an item before, and they exchanged some information, saying, "He's pretty nice, but I'm gonna need to use him a little bit." Melty then gets a bad feeling as we cut to a few minutes later when they are in the mansion of the noble named Vaughn, as Naofumi explains his little plan to him, and Vaughn would then ask, "How much have you thought about this?" "What, is it a bad plan?" Naofumi would ask, and Melty would then say, "No, it's just a lot." Naofumi then said if they had clones at their disposal like he does, they would be able to do this as well, but wants to make sure, they're clear on the plan, because it's going to be very simple, but also very, it's going to be messed up if you mess up. And the reason why Naofumi has, this whole plan in mind is because he tracked down some of the nobles relating to Raphtalia's bad past, and so he knows one of them will come over since he's in the area, and they're going to give him hell. So when the noble comes, Naofumi uses another skill that he had in storage, which surprised everyone when he used it, but now they knew this plan was going to work, definitely. So things go like in the original, with Melty agreeing to go with the fat noble as she's taken to his mansion because he wants to, know where the shield hero is, because she must know where he is. And she's taken to his like little kingdom, which is near like a kind of cliff, and outside the mansion of the noble, like in the kingdom, but outside like the mansion of the noble, people would be rioting to return their lord, specifically demi-humans, because the Vaughn cares for demi-humans and takes care of them, and he was taken unfairly. Of course, this is all Naofumi's plan. He was never really taken. Meanwhile, inside the castle, the mansion, the room of the noble was talking to Melty as he would say, "Welcome to my mansion," and it must have been quite a shock. "Please take a seat." Melty would then say, "I'm fine, thank you." As the noble, however, then walks over to this certain door, revealing a tortured Vaughn as he opens it up, and shocking Melty before the noble then says, "Please, I insist." Melty would then ask, "What even is your goal here?" The noble then comes up to Melty, grabbing her by the chin, and with a sadistic grin says that, "I just want to know where the shield hero is. And for that, in return, I will give you information. I promise in the name of the Lord." As he says this, he flashes the same item with the cross representing the church of the three heroes, and Melty would then say, "Okay, I'll tell you." The noble is however punched as he looks down to see that Melty has done this, and he is sent flying into a ceiling before then falling down, as Melty then poofs, transforming into Naofumi, who would say, "I'll tell you how to be a decent human being at least." The tortured Vaughn would then poof into a soldier that was disguised by Naofumi using force transformation, and this is when Raphtalia, Melty, and Asuka and the real Vaughn walk in, and Asuka would say, "Ha, you bought it." The noble then looks behind, just being barely able to stand, and he would see Vaughn, the actual Vaughn, standing up completely fine. He would be shocked. "But you were just..." He then looks back to see a soldier in the place of his prisoner, or where the prisoner should be, and realizes that he's been tricked. "Well, I would love to take care of you myself, but Raphtalia, I believe you two have some things to talk about." Naofumi then pushes both Asuka and Melty out gently, with Vaughn following, as Naofumi then says, "Cover your ears, I don't want you to hear this, alright?" The doors then slam shut as Raphtalia is allowed to get her revenge, and the noble screams like echo out for 5 minutes straight before it then stops as Raphtalia steps out with blood on her, and Naofumi will be waiting for her, asking, "You good?" Raphtalia then smiles, saying, "Yes, I think it's time for the nightmares to stop." Naofumi then says good as he goes to say something, but they hear rumbling and they look at each other and nod, running outside as they see a giant dinosaur. And Raphtalia would then ask, "Where are the others?" And Naofumi would say, "Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you. He is then slightly blown back by the roar of the dinosaur and smiles at Raphtalia, saying, Just give me a second." Chaos would then be occurring as, he's just, this dinosaur is just destroying everything. And Naofumi then walks up and stands right in front of this creature, and his body bursts with lightning before it then all goes into his hand. And the dinosaur then roars and goes to step on him, but as it does, in an instant, it is cut in half, having lightning then course through its body before its two halves then fall apart and just, slam into the ground. And Naofumi would say, "Shut the hell up while I'm talking." Raphtalia is frozen seeing this happen because this creature completely toppled the houses in the area, being gigantic enough to be considered something like the four heroes would need to gather to kill, and almost die in the process of, trying to kill it. And Raphtalia would then, wonder what their level, is now, or specifically what Naofumi's level is. Naofumi, after doing this, then looks around nervously and senses people coming up here, and he yells for Asuka to come out, and she runs out, having Klein, sorry about that little noise. Klein, which is like Raphtalia's friend, and along with her runs out Vaughn and Melty, and Vaughn is surprised to see the corpse of the T-Rex, or I guess what they would call like a dragon. But Naofumi says they don't have time for that, and he would say, "We're leaving, get on Asuka, I'll follow." Everyone then gets on Asuka, and Raphtalia secures and hugs Klein, who is unconscious by the way, as Asuka then runs and jumps over the wall of the city, before then gliding away using her wind magic, which she has if you don't know about this series. Naofumi then turns around and heads to the corpse of the monster and takes out his core before then storing it in his shield. Not like, upgrading his shield with it because he doesn't know what will happen. He's just storing it. Then he takes a detour and arrives at the gates where the demi-humans are protesting. Yeah, sorry about that. They're not protesting outside of his mansion specifically. They're protesting outside of the gates of the kingdom. Of course, they're not allowed in because they're demi-humans, but Naofumi is a different kind of person in this world anyway. And as they're just rioting, protesting for their master to come back because they really do love Vaughn and he's a very fair man. Naofumi would land behind them, and the huge crowd would then turn noticing him, and they would be saying, "It's the shield hero, I can't believe it." And Naofumi would then say, "Come on, follow me, I took your master back. I'm sorry." "You don't have to apologize, sir." Naofumi would then say he's gonna have to soon, but the good thing is that Vaughn is safe, and he and some of his party members actually escaped to the forest and are heading back home. Hearing this, they thank him and follow Naofumi and head back home, and after dropping off Klein, everyone reunites. Raphtalia gets to talk to him, and he is happy to know that she is with Naofumi, and then they let him sleep. Then after that, they let Klein heal, and Raphtalia and Asuka and Melty are waiting for Naofumi, who is healing him with this skill that involves water, and it's actually evolved like a little bit, leveled up a little bit. If you don't know about that, go watch the previous parts. You would have to, or you wouldn't understand what's going on here anyway. So, yeah. Melty would then be asking, "Are you okay?" to Raphtalia, who would then say, "Yeah, I'm just happy at least some of us survived." Asuka would then say not to worry, because if she asked Naofumi to head over to places like this and save a bunch of demi-humans, then he would in a heartbeat. And Raphtalia chuckles, saying, "Yeah, he probably would," and then he feels super annoyed after. They all then start laughing, saying that sounds just like him, as Naofumi would then walk out asking why they're talking about him, and they would say no big deal. "Weird, but okay." "He's completely fine, but we gotta move." "You mean to my mother?" Mati would ask, and Naofumi says, "Yeah, I have a few words for her." As they say this, something perks up Asuka as she then sees some Filolios approaching them, 4 in total actually, as Melty would then say, "Wow, I never seen so many of them. How did they get in?" Some of the demi-humans then walk over, saying that they came over and they seem to be looking for something, and well, they came to them. And the Filolios then signal to the party that they want them to follow, and Asuka asks Naofumi if they can, excited, and Melty does the same, and Naofumi would then say, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And as he says this, the two then cheer as Asuka transforms back into Filolio form and lets Melty ride on her, and they follow the Filolios, and Naofumi and Raphtalia then follow them. And Raphtalia would then say, "There's definitely something wrong, right?" "Yeah, I felt it too," Naofumi would say. "Stay on guard." She then nods, and they run and run until they end up in the same place where they would have been, and they met the queen, and they arrive at this ruined temple, and they are met by the Filolio queen, Vatora. Melty, looking up at her from atop Asuka, is surprised. "It's you." Naofumi would then say, "You know her?" Melty then said that she met her before, they found her in the woods. And the queen would then speak, saying, "Welcome, shield hero. I am the queen of Filolios, Vatora." And everyone is kind of shocked except Naofumi, who would then ask what she wanted, and Vatora would say, "I want to know where your power comes from." "You mean these?" He then shows his eternal Mangekyo, and she nods, saying, "Did your original world have the same ability as you? Because I strangely remember that mark in your eyes." Naofumi would then say, "I'm from a dormant bloodline of fighters. That's about all I can tell you. I even did research and excavations, but I don't really know what else to tell you. But I am definitely the last of my kind, but this system somehow knows what I am and is helping me evolve. How is that even possible?" Vatora would then say she does not know herself, but that power is definitely something that, she's seen before, but it's not befitting of a hero. It makes everything unbalanced. I saw you defeat that dragon, and with one attack, and with your clones fighting the waves at your level, wouldn't be a problem even if you didn't have your party along. Melty would then say, "Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you, what level are all of you?" And Naofumi then checks his status, saying, "Oh, Filo, you just hit level 60. Asuka would then say, "Really? That's awesome." And Raphtalia would then ask, "What about me?" And Naofumi says that she is level 78, and she is happy, with Melty then being baffled. "You guys are so strong. Then, from what you did to that monster, what level are you at now?" And Naofumi would then say, "Oh, I'm level 95. Everyone's jaws drop, with Naofumi then saying it's not that big of a deal, but that's all she wanted to talk about. Then they'll be leaving, and then she says to stop, saying Asuka's true identity, something that she also wanted to talk to him about. Vatora would then say, "Much like Asuka was raised by a hero, so this means she is candidate for Filolio Queen." This is surprising to hear, but they all tell Asuka that's really amazing, only for her to say she doesn't want to be queen though, as she wants to just stay with Naofumi. "She's very attached to you, I see," Vatora would say with a gentle smile, and Naofumi would say, "Seems like it, but if you were raised by a hero, then you also want to talk about the waves, right?" She then nods, with Naofumi then saying he will fight the waves, but he doesn't care what happens after, because it was all because of Malcolm's fault for summoning all the heroes in one country. And Naofumi would say, "Even when fighting together, we couldn't gather that much XP. That's why I went out on my own. That's why everything became unbalanced. But then I realized I was just an exception. Those three will die eventually. Even with me assisting them, I would still outdo them. They're being coddled like little kids by a kingdom and a church that doesn't even realize how badly this is gonna mess up the world. And unless their people can open their eyes, I will not go back to that country. Idiocy can only go so far." Vatora would then say, "So you will not work with the other heroes?" "I don't need them." That wasn't a proper answer, Vatora would say, as a sort of tension starts to appear between them, and the Filolios can even feel as Asuka then tells Naofumi to calm down, and he would say, "Don't worry, I'm calm." Vatora then says if this is how things are going to go, then she has no other choice as she activates a spell only for her cheek to be cut by a wind blade from Naofumi. His activation is faster than mine, she would think, as Naofumi would then ask, "What were you trying to do just now, huh?" Vatora then backs away as Naofumi approaches her, activating his Mangekyo as green fire erupts from him, creating a Susanoo ribcage. "Answer me. Just what the hell were you trying to do?" And Vatora then uses a wind spell, like swiping at Naofumi, who will then create a Susanoo arm and simply swipe it away, and just with ease, shocking Vatora. He would then be saying, "You shouldn't be this strong, even at your current level." "You still haven't answered me," Naofumi would say, as Vatora then yells, "Are you satisfied with this, with how things are turning out, with how this world is just going to hell?" Naofumi would then say, "No, I'm not, but it can't be helped. I never said I was gonna give up on this world." He then deactivates his power before then saying, "You need to understand that I've been dealing with a lot of problems with that kingdom, and I'm tired of them. And you don't get to tell me how I go about saving the world. I'm the shield hero. I protect, but it doesn't mean I have to protect the normal way that you expect me to." Silence then falls as Vatora would then ask if he was being serious, and he nodded, saying that Melkormark really just is something that he does not concern him. He does not have to be a Melkormark to help save the world. And Naofumi would then say, "Let me meet the queen and make my decision, okay? Let's go." He then starts leaving with the girls following, and Vatora says she'll get rid of the mist, but Naofumi said he got it, as he would say, "You don't have to interfere anymore. I'm not that unreasonable." He and his party then disappear into the mist, with Vatora giving a blessing of sorts towards Asuka, and she hopes that everything goes well as the party then walks out, with Naofumi forming a Susanoo, putting it around everyone, and they're kind of in the head of it as it fully forms, and it flaps its wings before blasting off. "Yeah, we're flying again," Asuka would be yelling, kind of like, acting like a kid, as Naofumi would then say, "Careful, I might drop you." And Asuka gets scared before Naofumi then laughs, saying, he's just joking, and Raptalia says he jokes too much. "This is really the man you want to kill so much, Father Melty," would think, as Vatora and her Filolios would then see the Susanoo being, flown over their entire area, and they're amazed at, well, she's amazed because she's the only one that can kind of sense it, at the amount of magic being concentrated to make that summon. So, yeah, it's pretty impressive. So Naofumi and his party are then headed to where the queen is, and about an hour of flying, they stop, and Naofumi does not want to waste any energy, and the Susanoo slowly lands, dropping his party as they start walking again for a while. As they walk forward, though, they would then hear yelling from above, will come Moriyasu, out of nowhere, just bashing his spear towards Naofumi, but Raptalia will block this attack with her light sword before then kicking away the hero in the face, sending him flying. Raptalia then lowers her leg. "Do not touch Naofumi." As Moriyasu would land, he would be bleeding from his nose and is shocked, thinking, "When did she's stronger than me? A hero?" Melty then gets on guard as, the rest goes for, Naofumi and Asuka, with Naofumi then activating his Sharingan, and he would smile, saying, "Come out, I can see you." A laugh is then heard as the Pope from the church, and, the Church of the Three Heroes, or whatever his name is, I don't care about him. He walks out of thin air, as he would say, as expected from the devil of the shield. A magic spell is then released as behind him are his men that would completely under this invisible spell, and a bunch of them are there, and out walks mine as well with the rest of the party of Moriyasu, and Melty would then be asking, "What is the meaning of this?" "You dare feign ignorance," Mine would say in a sort of angry tone, but she's not really, she's just faking, and Moriyasu would then say, "Yeah, you killed Ren and Itsuki, you bastard." Raptalia would then say, "It happened again, didn't it?" Asuka would then say, "Yep, spear hero guys being used. This is like the 5th time? 6? Moriyasu would then yell, saying that he knows what he's doing and is not being used, as he rather trust his friends more than someone who doesn't even care if they die, and he keeps raging, and this is when he will be hit by a blinding light, as Mine and him and his entire party turn around to see the priest kind of pointing a sword at them. What are you doing?" "Just following the will of the god." The priest then releases a light beam which would hit the entire party and destroy the area behind, surrounding them, but as the light clears, reveals Naofumi having blocked the party with his newly awakened dragon shield, possessing a purple looking gemstone in the middle, while being big enough to cover Naofumi's entire body, and it was made entirely of dragon scales. The Pope, Moriyasu's party, and even Naofumi's party are shocked to see this, with Naofumi even himself not knowing what happened, as they would be the members would be thinking, the devil stopped the Pope's attack. So it was true. Naofumi would then yell "shut up" as he uses his bloodlust skill, which he has not used in a while, and it has reached max level, causing everyone to fall to their knees, being unable to get up and being unable to even breathe, except the priest who is holding the holy weapon. And Moriyasu would then say, "That close up? How the hell did you? What is that shield?" Naofumi then turns around saying, "Did I? Or did I not tell you to shut up? Moriyasu then begins to feel this familiar pressure as well, and he shuts up, as does his entire party, including mine, which is very rare. As Naofumi then turns around, back to the priest, and he stops using his skill. And the Pope then calls him foolish, saying that if he lets his men go, then they're just going to attack him, only for him to hear thumping as he looks behind to see all the church members falling to the ground like flies. How is this even possible? This is when Naofumi would grab and break his sword with his bare hands, before then grabbing him by the face as he slams into the ground with so much force that he craters 5 feet deep, causing cracks to form all around, and then Naofumi lets him go, saying, "Fuck you, that's why." Now, he then turns and faces Moriyasu's frightened party, and he would say, "What was that about me killing Ren and Itsuki?" They would then hear "wait" as Ren and Itsuki then run up, but they see there is no need for them to interfere. Like always, they're useless. But Moriyasu then getting happy when he sees them, almost crying, and he's happy they're okay, and he would be asking, "How are you guys alive?" Naofumi would then be thinking, "The shadows probably did it." Asugura, Reptile, and Melty then run over, asking Naofumi if he's okay, and he says he's fine, and he looks at his shield and tries to turn it back to normal, and it finally does. "It's back to normal again," Reptile would say, as Naofumi would then say, "More or less. This thing has never really been normal, has it?" Ren would then say, "We sense that attack from really far away. How the hell did you block it?" Naofumi then ignores him as something piqued his interest, and he looks at the hilt of the holy weapon that the Pope was holding, and it had the same jewel that the dragon shield has, but it had more swirls and tomoe in it, like a Sharingan. "What the hell? How are you touching that?" Melty would ask. "You're the shield hero. That shouldn't work, right?" In this instant, the holy weapon starts to glow with the purple light, blinding everyone who get on guard, with mine asking if this is another one of Naofumi's strikes, and Melty would yell, "Seriously, sister, be quiet," as Naofumi then stares into the light and he is blinded by it, and when he opens his eyes, he is in a white void. Where am I? You are in your own mind. Something like your consciousness, so to speak. Naofumi is then startled by the voice as he turns around to see a floating old man. This is Hagoromo Otsutsuki, who would then land down, forming his staff, and he walks up to Naofumi, who doesn't know why, but he has a sense of familiarity with this guy. "What are you?" Hagoromo would then say, "That's quite rude, isn't it? After all, you're my descendant. You're kind of like grandson." "What?" Hagoromo would then smile, saying, "Yes, this may come as a surprise to you, but you are my descendant." "What?" "Like I said, it's quite surprising," he would say while chuckling, and Naofumi would say, Wait. Seriously. First off, what is up with these eyes? Did you give them to me? And who really are you? Don't be vague." Hagoromo then tells him to sit down, as he will tell him everything. And this actually makes more sense now that I'm reading it out loud, considering how the waves work. Hagoromo, after the fight with Kaguya, his soul started to dissipate, right? But then due to the waves, somehow he ended up in the world of the shield, shield hero. And when he was formed in that world. It was much more primitive. Like he was there when the world began to form. But his entrance also unlocked what humans now call mana. And the mana also helped him regain a sort of form. He's not really human. He's not really a spirit either. He's kind of in the middle. And because of that, people saw him like in the old days, and they named him the god of this world, which he still hasn't really accepted as his title, but he tries to help whenever he can. And Naofumi would then say, "Then how come I've never heard of you?" Hagoromo then says, "Oh, but you have. Though not everyone believes in my existence, the Pope you just defeated was one of the few that was followers, and he justified killing you with that notion that I wanted you to die, but he didn't know anything. Also, this world is vast. There are far more that know me, not to brag or anything." "Yeah, sure. So you never really talked to him, like an oracle?" Hagoromo would then say, "He's not exactly a sane man. This is his own agenda, although it is still my fault. I should have interfered, but if I did, then you wouldn't be as strong as you are now. Also, I'm not exactly a god. That's simply what they refer to me as there is no way to explain my existence." Naofumi then says, "Then it all makes sense. How the system knew I had chakra. You made it, didn't you?" Hagoromo then nods, saying because, he created this energy by accident, he can also control mana, meaning that he also made the holy weapons. And he would say, "I came here to meet you for a mission. Naofumi Uchiha. Will you listen to it?" As he asked this, we got to a few hours later when Naofumi would open his eyes, and as he does, he sits up, feeling the wind hit his face, and as he turns around, he will see the Queen of Melkormark, Morelia. "It's you, isn't it? The Queen?" Morelia then has a look of surprise, asking how he could possibly have those eyes, as Naofumi would then ask what she's talking about, and Naofumi then gets a notification from the system saying that he had evolved the skill Sharingan to Renegon and had a bunch of new skills and a new title. True Apostle? What is this stuff? Marilia then bows, hearing him say this title, with him then asking what the hell she's doing, and she nervously says that those eyes are a sign of having been accepted as their god's true hero. This has never happened before, therefore right now, you have a higher status than me. I am but a mere queen. Naofumi then gets out of bed and sees that, he can hide these eyes, so he does, telling her to get up, and as she looks up, she sees the eyes are gone, and she would ask, "Who are you, Sir Naofumi?" Naofumi then gives her a hand, and she gets up with him, saying that they had something else to talk about. If you wanted to help the other kingdoms, that's fine. You should have never trusted your husband or mine, though. They clearly can't lead this country. So you understand the situation, Marilia would say, as Naofumi then says, "Of course I do, I'm not an idiot. I'm just pissed." Marilia would then say, "Understandable. For their crimes considering your position, their very existence could be considered wrong." Naofumi would then say, "Yeah, don't be too dramatic," thinking that the fact that the big guy upstairs isn't exactly the big guy upstairs, he's just a nice guy trying to do what he can. And he would say, "I met the big guy upstairs," saying, he doesn't care if you do something bad, he's just a nice old man, He's just trying to do his best. Marilia would then be even more shocked hearing this, saying, You actually met him? What did he look like? Why did he allow you to meet him? Because I'm his descendant or something? Descendant? Does he meet relative? Marilia would think. In that case, is he a demigod? Now, if he would then be saying, "You're thinking something crazy, aren't you? This is just a mess. Let's sit down and talk, alright?" Marilia would then nod, as she cannot believe she's in the presence of a demigod, which she's really not, and cannot believe how badly they'd be screwed if their god wasn't so merciful, which he is not their god, but Hagoromo can destroy their entire planet, because he's Hagoromo. And with mana added on top of that, this dude is a beast. So, they take a seat near a table nearby, with the queen saying that she heard he wanted to go to Silk Fit, and Naofumi would say, "What about it?" "I wouldn't recommend it. They are the complete opposite of us in the way that they take humans as slaves and oppress humans in the same way that we oppress demi-humans." "What the fuck? Come on!" "Jesus!" Naofumi would yell, as the queen would then be saying, "I apologize." Naofumi would then say, "Screw it. I have an idea. I'll just take that country." The queen is baffled but not surprised, knowing from the shadows that Naofumi has been building connections, and she thinks it may be too early, but Naofumi said that he had to. "Gramps gave me a mission, not that I had much of a choice." "What's the mission?" the queen would ask, as Naofumi would then say, "Stopping the slavery of this world." "He has some high standards, as you can see." The queen would then say, "He simply trusts you," saying, "I can't believe we're truly talking about this right now." Speaking of trust, I have planned something that I think will finally leave you at peace. It's been a long time coming. We then cut to Melty, Asuka, and Raftalia waiting outside of the room that Naofumi's in, as he comes out with the queen, and Naofumi, not even wearing his suit, he's just like in casual wear, walks out, and the girls run up to him in tears, asking if everything was okay, and he says it's fine, all that, telling Melty she should go say hi to her mother. She would then nod and run to Marilia, and Marilia would then, say she went past their expectations, and they were spectacular as a princess, and Melty is very happy. After this, they head to the throne room, and as they enter, they see the three heroes along with the king on his throne, and the king would then say, "Oh, Marilia, why is that damn shield hero here? Arrest him. No, the shield devil. Get him." "Under whose orders? You're no longer the king from this day," Marilia would say, as the king would then be saying, "What?" Clearly being distraught, as Marilia then walks past the heroes who would make way for her, and they're nervous because she's kind of exuding the pressure of a true ruler, more than the king has ever, done. And the king would then try to say she is being brainwashed, and she would say, "Be quiet," releasing an ice spell, just freaking freezing the king in an iceberg and shocking everyone. How stupid can you be? The shield hero has no such power. She then sits on her throne as her shadows then appear out of nowhere, and one of them would put up a magic device, showing this trial to the entire country as a sort of camera. Outside, people would be gathered, seeing this all go down, as they would be thinking, "What is he doing here? What's going on? Did he kidnap the princess?" All that stupid shit, because y'all niggas only listen to mine. Dumbass. I cannot deal with the country of Malcolm Mark, man. I hate these niggas. I'ma stop. Alright, let's just get back to the point. I really do hate these niggas, though. Now, as Ironheart hears this all from his shop, he would smile, thinking, "I wonder what he has in store for me today." Now, back at the palace, Mai would have just been brought out, and the king was released, being held by the shadows, as he and Mai are put next to each other, both on their knees, and the king would then be saying, "Rethink this, my wife. You cannot truly believe this devil, can you?" Moriyasu then protests as well, saying, "Please, Mai would never hurt a fly. Aren't you her mother? How can you not be taking her side?" Marilia would then laugh as she fans herself, and she stops, showing the sign of what would be the Renegon on her fan, and she would be asking the king what he thinks the symbol is. "It shows respect to the sage, or god, the creator of mana. Did you think I was so idiotic not to remember this? How lowly do you think of me?" Ren would then say, God? You had a god? Merely would then say, most of you are unaware of this, as bringing up his name for trifling reasons is considered a blasphemy, but you already destroyed this kingdom since you hurt the child of her god. Outside the castle, everyone is shocked and confused, wondering what she is talking about, as this is when she looks to Naofumi, who sighs, as now Asuka would then ask what the queen is talking about. I'll tell you later. Naofumi then looks to the people through the magic device, and his eyes will change form, revealing a purple glow as they will form the Renegon. Absolute silence would fall, with no one knowing what to say, as they would be thinking, how can a hero have that? Oh my god, we called an apostle a rapist. We convicted a child of our god. And Moriyasu is about to yell, what the hell do you... Before he can even finish his words, he has daggers through his throat from the shadows of the queen, as the queen says, as previously stated, refrain from directing ill intent at the symbol of our country. It is considered blasphemy. Even a hero cannot escape that punishment, so watch your mouth. Itsuki would then say, then who is Naofumi? What are those eyes? I'm asking respectfully, of course, as Mai would then say, it can't be. What does a devil like you have those eyes for, huh? She would then shut her mouth, realizing what she just said, but the queen then announcing Naofumi as the descendant of the god of the world, making him a demigod, and as such, he is absolute. Ironheart, having heard this and seen this from after coming out of his shop after being intrigued, completely is shocked, saying, I tried to fool a demigod. I'm so dead. Mai would then yell, how can you be even sure of this power? I don't doubt our lord, but Naofumi would then say, man, you are annoying. Just shut up. If the old man were here, he wouldn't even give you a chance, and he's really nice. Want proof? I'll give you proof. King of Hell, come out. Everyone's eyes would then widen as out of the ground would come this giant monstrous creature opening its mouth, as Ren would then say, King of Hell? Naofumi can control death? Something like that, Naofumi would say, as he would say, I don't need a slave seal, I got this. He then puts his hand on her head as she would then stand up straight, like just from him putting his hand on her head, and then Naofumi would then ask, did I, Naofumi Uchiha, rape you? Uchiha? People will be mumbling as Mime would then yell that he did in front of the entire kingdom, only for the King of Hell to then thrust out a giant hand that is about to grab and kill her, but Naofumi stops it, saying, this magic rips out the soul of the person who was lied. Like so. He would then lift his hand, and her head just completely just shoots out this sort of energy, which is her soul, and Naofumi rips it out, and it is in his hand, as Mai would then fall over, dead, shocking everyone as they realize how serious this is getting. That's mine soul, Moriyasu would say? Why is it so dark? Really would then be thinking, no, I expected this. This is the correct punishment. They brought this upon themselves. However, Naofumi then puts her soul back in her body as her eyes would come back to life, and she sits up uncontrollably shaking, shaking as she has just died and come back to life. Only ninjas can deal with that type of trauma, okay? That shit is terrifying for any normal people. That's all I'm gonna say. Naofumi would then say, is that enough proof for you? As the king would then say, please, please, have mercy. And Naofumi would say, oh, I'm not gonna kill you. The old man said to bring peace. What I will do is put you in a certain state so you can't hurt anyone. I was given this for people just like you. It's called the Izanagi, but I've slightly altered it for people of your case. He would then make hand signs as both mine and the king would have their eyes turn into the Renegon, as everyone would gasp, and he would say, I guess you can call this a temporary curse. They will be stuck in an endless loop until they learn their lessons. If they never do, they'll die that way. Anybody got any objections? Nothing? Artalia would then be thinking, Naofumi's still not killing them like he wanted? He's still giving them a chance. Murilia, seeing this, almost cries, but holds it in as she sees that her family has a chance to redeem itself, because they're dumb as fuck. They're stupid people, but that's still her family. You feel like, how can you not want them to somehow become better people? And she's really happy. And of course, the King of Hell goes back into the ground, as he would then look at the camera saying, I personally don't care what you think because it's not true, but I think I've given some pretty concise evidence, because if I wanted to, your entire kingdom would be flattened. He would then make his eyes go back to normal as he starts leaving, as Raphtalia and Asuka then follow him, with Asuka waving to Melty, who is just stuck in awe and in a daze from all that has happened. Raphtalia would then say, don't you think you were a bit too straightforward with the people? And Naofumi would then say, like I said, I provided the evidence. What happens next doesn't matter. Now, you guys want to eat? Asuka would then say, oh, I want to go to that pub again, and Naofumi would then say, then onward, my subjects, as Raphtalia would then call him corny, and the group then laughs, and the throne room door closes behind them. And by this point, the priest of the kingdom came up and checked on the king and mine, and felt an unbelievable amount of magic focused on their brain and eyes. Let's hope they make it back. This is their final chance, my queen, but they are still alive for the moment being. Maria then nods, calming herself down as she says, "This is the end of the trial, my people. I urge you to do what you can to redeem yourself. Not simply for the sake of being forgiven, but for the sake of your own well-being. This kingdom was way too easily swayed, as was I. We must all change. I will also be revealing all the crimes that have been committed by the Church of the Three Heroes, and from mine, my own daughter, and my husband. I bid you farewell." The device then cuts as things would never be the same again, as news of Naofumi being a demigod spreads to other countries, but the queen, having done this, is trying to establish a position for him and a reputation for him. But of course today wasn't over, as this one we cut to Naofumi having left, and they're going to the not the pub, but he's covering up Asuga's eyes, saying he actually wanted to show her a different place than the pub, as Asuga would be able to see again as he removes these eyes. How the fuck did I? As Asuga can see again, because Naofumi removed his goddamn arm out of her way, she's then shocked to see a prepared banquet and freaks out with Naofumi, saying that it's okay to eat. And she says she loves him and starts going crazy. And however, after this, being declared demigod, everyone in the room basically just froze and are just bowing to him instead of eating. And Naofumi would then, see that they were some of the few people that believe everything Mind said. He remembers the face of every single noble in that room when he almost was dying fighting Moriyasu. And some of them were actual demi-humans who were brought from other countries. Some did believe him from the beginning. They were just trying to show respect as he's, a demigod or whatever, which he's not. And Naofumi would say, "Get up, I don't need your praises." They would then all be thinking that Naofumi, despite his cold attitude, was very nice to not be overtaken with rage, because if it was them, they would have done whatever the hell they wanted if they were demigods after what happened to them. And everyone would get up and apologize, to which he says no problem, as if he was talking like it was no big deal. But they're surprised and just getting more respect for him, realizing that this man can literally wipe them out, but they're still alive. So when the night fell, truly, the heroes would gather at the queen's place, and Melty, who stayed at her side, would talk with her to kind of because she's gonna be queen soon, so she has to listen to these political things. And something about the atmosphere is kind of awkward, because these three dumb heroes are in front of the person they tried to literally convict since the beginning of the series. And Naofumi would say, "Oh, for once in your lives, you finally shut up." Where the hell did you get that power? It doesn't even make sense, Itsuki would say. As Ren would then say, "Same, I always thought your powers were some cheat," but Naofumi would then say, "A demigod, you can't handle that, can you? First off, I'm not actually a demigod. This is the only way for this world to measure my power. But close enough." "Ah, so you did lie," Moriyasu would say, as Naofumi then thinks, "It sounds like these that I'm so happy he gave me these skills." "No offense, but I don't plan on keeping you as heroes," Naofumi would say out loud, as he would say, "Under the big orders, guys, I will be sending you back to your original worlds in a few days. Actually, right now." "What?" they would all yell, as Melty would then ask, "You can do such a thing?" Naofumi would then say, "Yeah, but not in the ritual way." Ren would then be asking, "What are you talking about? This isn't fair." Naofumi then looks at them with this gaze, showing that he really does not care, and they remember that they were blinded and didn't listen to him. And Itsuki and Ren will still kind of feeling they're not feeling bad, they're just feeling bad that they can't stay. It's not genuine. And Itsuki and Ren in rage. However, Ren would then yell at him, saying that, it wouldn't be good for him to summon any other heroes back because they'd be low level. And Naofumi would then say, "The system doesn't determine everything about your power level. It only helps you kind of keep track of it. That being said, I will train them myself, and if they're as annoying as you, they will be sent back to their own worlds. At worst, they'll be killed. I'm being merciful here. You guys have definitely earned the death penalty." "And how do you plan on dealing with the waves?" Merely would ask, as she would say that if there are less heroes, it only gets stronger. And Naofumi would then make a hand sign, making two cones appear, as he says, "Like this, I really don't need them. Well, I do agree that the heroes have to be united. That can't be forced. From this day on, you are no longer heroes or residents of this world." As this truth dawns on them, their weapons would shock them, making them let go as they no longer belong to them, and they fall to the ground, as Naofumi would then take the system from them as well, saying, "Do you realize how serious this is now?" The three could not say anything, having lost their status, power, and now they were just strangers in this world. And he would say, "I told you, this isn't a game." They're then warped away without even being given a chance or a choice to say anything, and Merlia and Melty are just out of words as the three heroes are gone before their very eyes. "And you're sure you're not a demigod?" Melty would ask, and Naofumi would say, maybe a little close to that, but now that they're gone, maybe it means that the old man will finally do it himself, the summoning. It will begin, probably. Trust me. They'll know. Merely would then say, you mean the other kingdoms? Wow, he really isn't just a nice man. Merely would then say, well, then I guess you want to know what other reasons I gathered you. And Naofumi would then say, sorry for putting all of this on you. It's just that they can't stay here. It's messing up the balance of this world. I realize that I as well am messing up the balance of this world. Merely would then laugh, saying that Merely would then laugh, saying that he doesn't have to apologize. He's doing his best. And Merely would then say, it's time to talk about the island that he's supposed to go to get extra XP. And it's not just an island, it's an archipelago of islands. So yeah. After this, the news of the heroes being unsummoned is out, and people first freaked out, but they still had Naofumi, so they weren't scared. But they wondered why they were being unsummoned. And the queen then followed this up by showing the horrible things they did, and like she promised she would, and the hourglasses started counting down, not for the waves, but for the new summoning of the heroes. But soon a countdown would start for a new wave to arrive, because all the heroes are fucking gone. I mean, that's a natural crisis for this world. After this, Naofumi's party heads to Ironheart, who feels a bit awkward after, now talking so long and finding he's a fucking demigod, which is not really true. But he soon gets over it, as Naofumi acts the same way he always does, kind of patronizing and sarcastic in a way. Ironheart would then say, well, then what are you now? Shield hero? Apostle? Let's stick with Naofumi. Ironheart would then laugh, saying, fair enough, but I don't think anyone will see you the same ever again. I mean, Naofumi would then say, I get it, jeez. And he then starts walking around the shop with Ironheart, asking if they got to, use their equipment that much. And Asuka says no, because Master keeps taking up all the fun, kind of pouting. And Raftali would say, I didn't even get to try out my sword that much. I think you're all kind of skipping over the fact that we were gonna die. Raftali would then say, yeah, but we could have handled them. According to you, we're stronger than the heroes. Ironheart would then say, oh, speaking of that, what do you think the new heroes would be like? You think they're gonna be just as annoying? Naofumi would then say, they have to be better than the last ones. They have to. That's all I ask. The rest is up to the old man. It's weird seeing you refer to a god as an old man, Naofumi would then say, why? You nervous? No, seriously, it'll be fine though. It'll be fine. After this, Naofumi then gets some equipment and leaves. When out on the street, people are more so scared of incurring his wrath than being sorry. But some people are genuinely sorry. They just can't say anything because they don't want, him to kill them. Because they don't know what he's thinking. They think he's some other new being now because he doesn't seem human to them at all. So after this, the group meets the group of knights who cleared the waves with them, and they apologize for not being able to help them, for enough, help Naofumi out of that whole him being convicted thing. But Naofumi says it's fine because they're not that high status. They couldn't have done anything. And then after this, they head to the new church, which was now meant for all heroes, but now the heroes weren't really here. Regardless, the priests that were assholes were removed with actual followers, and the queen is present, and Naofumi's party is ranked up. And this is when Asuka would gain a cow lick, surprising everyone, as Asuka would say, Master, what is this? I don't like it. Naofumi would then look at her status, before then smiling as he says, looks like we have a future Filo queen right before us. Morelia and the church are surprised as, this is kind of just all too much coming out at once. But it's to be expected when you're with Naofumi's party, as Naofumi then said that now Raftali was also level 80, while Asuka was 72, while he has reached level 100 definitely, and has fully unlocked all the abilities of the Renegon and has knowledge on how the powers work. As for Raftali, her appearance actually changes right before them. As everyone sees, she becomes slightly more mature, a bit taller, and looks more like a full female adult with assets. And Naofumi would then say, well, seems like we benefited greatly. Merely would then say, good luck on Carmilla Island. The expedition starts tomorrow, and you'll be joined by other adventurers, of course. Try to stay clear so they can gather experience as well. And Naofumi would then nod and they leave, with Asuka still complaining about the cow leg. She then actually tries to rip it out, but it regrows back, making Naofumi and Raftali just kind of laugh at her. And after this, the next stop is Naofumi's territory, and when they head over there, the place has been returned to him because it was in Moriyasu's hands after they find out that he allegedly kidnapped the princess. And the people just thank him. They just are happy, and they kind of celebrate a bit. And after this, they also go see Raftalia's friend who was, they go pray for Raftalia's friend who has died. They make a kind of tomb for her. Kiel is shocked to see Raftalia has become more beautiful. And Raftalia promises to come back after some unfinished business. So the next day, the clock is pending, with the heroes being summoned in about 7 hours soon. And Naofumi then gets on the boat here, heading to the, the island. And he gets a room for his entire party, one room to save room for other adventurers. And they haven't yet met Lark or Therese this time. And of course, like I said, other adventures on this boat. And as Naofumi steps off the boat and, after they arrive at the island, everyone starts whispering about him and his identity, and Lark and Therese are wondering what the big deal is, as Lark would then say, honestly, I don't know if any of these heroes are here anywhere. Maybe they're hiding really well, or maybe they knew that we were coming. Therese would then say that's impossible, but they should prepare for the worst, as those injuries Glass came back with couldn't have been done by someone normal. You mean something? There's no way a hero can use that kind of power, right? Therese then says she still wants them to be careful, and the passengers are brought to the safe zone of the island, like an island just made for them to relax. And there are quarters, rooms, food. After getting settled, the next day the adventurers start hunting, and to not steal experience because Naofumi is way too powerful, he and his party head deep into the forest and they obliterate monsters, and they keep being monster after monster. When soon Therese and Lark walk up on them, and Lark would say, "Wow, you're that guy. Your party's pretty strong, huh?" Asuka would then ask, "Master, do you know them?" And Naofumi would say, "Nope. What do you guys want?" Lark then apologizes for bothering them, saying that they were simply looking around, and Naofumi then says it's okay, saying he's sensing a manticore about 500 meters ahead. If you hurry fast, you might be able to get to it before someone else. How do you know that? It's so accurate, Therese would ask. And Asuka then brags about this, saying like, my master is super powerful, this thing can fuck your shit up. And Naofumi then says she's just over-exaggerating. But the two still think Naofumi, is pretty strong, and, they thank him and run over to the monster. As Naofumi then tells Asuka not to reveal anything about his level, and as a matter of fact, they'll be hiding it from now on, because it will cause a bit of a ruckus. So she agrees, Artella agrees, they'll agree as a party, and after this hunt is over, the safe part of the island, everyone heads over there and hang out and actually party. And this is when Therese asks Naofumi if he can make her an item while he's at the bar talking to Lark. Naofumi would then ask, Artella told you, didn't she? Therese would then nod, asking if it's really true, and Naofumi responds to her question with another question, asking if she, wanted a bracelet, a ring, what do you want? And she gets happy hearing this, as Lark then asks what Naofumi is eating, and he points to the barrels, that's like a few feet away, and he said he took some fruits from there. Lark then asks if he can try some, and Naofumi says sure, giving him one, and Lark eats the fruit, but then a waiter then sees him do this and will be surprised. How many of those have you had, sir? Naofumi would then say, I ate a whole handful. Is that bad? I only ate one, Lark would say, as the waiter then says it's not bad, but the fruit is used to make alcohol, surprising them as in this moment Lark would fall over, knocked out by the fruit, when Naofumi just takes another bite, completely unaffected. You're quite strong, Sir Naofumi. Naofumi would then say not as amazing as her. He then points to Artella, who's out drinking a bunch of men, but then Asuka runs up saying that this stuff just tastes gross. She's obviously referring to the alcohol. She's still a child. And Naofumi would then say, what tastes like? Lark, did you? He then realizes that he's out cold, but Therese then asking what's wrong, and he says he gave her alcohol, making her gasp, as Naofumi would say it's fine. Just don't drink this again, alright? Let's go get you some juice or something. He then takes Asuka on his shoulder and they head off, but Therese thinking their party is very nice. And soon the party ends, for the Avengers, and Naofumi then gets Therese's orders, what to make, and works on it the night before, and the next day they meet up at a place to exchange the item, and they meet near a temple that has monsters in it, kind of a dungeon, and Naofumi then hands the Therese her item, which is the Oracle bracelet. That's what it was in the manga. I don't know if that's what it was in the anime, but that sounds pretty concise to me. It works as a name. Naofumi would then ask, what do you think? And Therese would then burst into tears with Naofumi being confused, but she would then wipe her tears, saying that this is more beautiful than she thought it would be. And Naofumi says, of course you will have to pay. If you didn't know, I'm a merchant. Lark would then say, I'm not surprised, I bet you're pretty famous, huh? Artella then says, don't start, he'll get a big head about it. I don't, but before we can even finish his words, a gold sack is like, it's just dropped in his hand. A huge sack of gold is dropped in his hand, but then being shocked, but Therese says this nearly isn't enough and tries to take something from Lark to pay him, but Naofumi says it's fine. I'll put it on your tab, just pay me later. She would then nod as she keeps freaking out over the bracelet as she tries it on, and she is just filled with power, and she would think, Sir Naofumi, you have a bright future ahead of you. After this, they go party up and head to one of the islands on the archipelago, and as they're heading to the island on the boat, Lark would ask Naofumi what level his party, members are, including himself, and Naofumi would then say, oh, I'm 60, Artella is 67, and Asuka is 63. Therese would then say, oh, you're pretty strong for a shield user, and Naofumi would think, you have no idea. So cut to about 2 days later, obviously the heroes have been summoned, and they've, been accommodated, they're being calmed down, and the queen has talked to them, but they're waiting to meet Naofumi, and the wave is about to start as well, and just in case, the queen would set up a force, even though Naofumi said it was fine, as the fleet, the queen would be on the sea waiting for the monster to come out. As the timer of the wave reaches 1. The sky will redden as out of the sky comes out a giant horned whale, and with it comes a bunch of sea-related creatures, mostly lizard-looking people, like lizard men. Everyone is shocked, but Naofumi would stick his hand out and they all stop. How is he doing that? He's an apostle, you idiot. It doesn't matter if he's the shield. And Naofumi would then say, Shinra Tensei. Naofumi version. The whale would then be shredded up to pieces as with some of the monsters attacking, shocking everyone as they were gigantic enough to eat up their entire fleet, and the whale is then dropped to the ground as Naofumi would then yell for everyone to get ready because the battle wasn't over. Asuka, Raphtalia, they both would then nod and run to the other ships, jumping on them, killing the falling monsters in the blink of an eye. Encircle these creatures, you're up next, shield hero, Rilla would say, as they all gather around, kind of putting this kind of whirlpool effect on them, just going around the monsters who keep landing and missing the boat. They land in the water. Naofumi would then say got it as he raises his hand, filling with lightning, before then shooting it into the water, electrifying and killing the monsters in an instant. Keep them coming, we can do this all day. Seeing Naofumi do this incredible stuff along with his party makes everyone realize there is no way they'll lose, and as this keeps happening, Naofumi would then sense familiar sources of energy as Lark and Therese arrive on the scene, cutting up monsters before then landing on the body of the killed whale, asking Naofumi if he needed any help. I guess. Naofumi then makes shadow clones that appear above the two, kicking 3 monsters from above while creating wind blades, and this kills them before the clones then land, and poof. How did you do that? Therese would ask, as Naofumi then lands on the whale asking, what are you doing here? Therese would then say, we came to help, obviously. Naofumi would then say, yeah, cut the shit, what do you want? Hearing this, the two then get serious as they have been found out by Naofumi, and Lark would then ask if he's the shield hero, and Naofumi says, I have literally been saying that to you all night. Were you drunk? Lark would then say, well, maybe. But that sucks. You really are a monster. Glass wasn't joking. Far off, as Asuka takes down another monster, she yells out for Raphtalia, asking if asking why Lark and Therese are here and why they're talking, and Raphtalia would say, I don't know, but this feels fishy. Back on the whale, Naofumi is told that they're from another world and they're heroes as well, and honestly isn't surprised but wonders why they're here. This is because Hagoromo told him, and he would ask, why would heroes be trying to confront other heroes? It's to save our world. Therese then enchants Lark's scythe with lightning as he strikes down, releasing lightning, only for him to be hit by a Raikiri in the gut, sending him flying into the sea, causing a huge explosion of water, and Therese is shocked, as this is when glass would come from above, landing on the whale with a smiling face and a nervous sweat going down her cheek. Still as much of a monster as before, huh? No. Maybe even more? Asuka then comes in, landing right behind Naofumi, as this is when glass has to block a light attack from the side that came from Asuka, and as she blocks the attack though, Raphtalia would just create this giant saber of light, which would extend and hit glass away, sending her flying, as she would then spin kick Teresa right into the ground before then landing, and she would then say, it's time for some payback, because they got their asses beat by glass last time. Naofumi then makes a hand sign, creating 10 shadow clones that jump to help with the waves. One of them also relays some info to the queen about what is happening. Meanwhile, Lark manages to crawl back to land while breathing heavily, and Glass as well as Therese would gather up, and they kind of, the 3 post up, and Therese would then be asking, can we even win? Even if we can't, we have to keep going. Naofumi then tells Raphtalia and Asuka to stay still as he walks up and asks, that portal, that crack, it's a portal to your world, right? Yeah? What about it? Naofumi then looks at them smiling as Glass would then get a sinister feeling, and they would all then lose consciousness, as when she wakes up, Glass finds herself in her old world, and Lark and Therese are near her, out cold. Damn it! If you're wondering what just happened, Naofumi teleported them back home using a sort of Kamui thing, because he didn't want to deal with them, and he wanted more time to learn about this whole war between worlds, because that's what it looks like to him. So after this, Naofumi takes care of the waves with this party, and they go back to Melkormark, where Naofumi is introduced to the summoned heroes, who are Hinata, Sasuke, and Sato. Yeah, I really went that far. And Naofumi would then ask, are any of you gamers? Please say no. The girl of the group, Hinata Sakaguchi, says she doesn't really play games, before then asking, how do you know? Are you from Earth too? And Sasuke, a man as well, Sasuke Satoru, would then ask if there was a way back home while freaking out a bit, and the last kid named Sato Inumaki simply asked if they will be treated correctly. And Naofumi would say yes, yes, and yes, depending on how you conduct yourselves, of course. I'm sorry you were dragged into this, but as you can see, you become quite different. They would then look at their arms, each having a sword, spear, and bow, with Hinata having a spear, Sasuke having a sword, and Sato having the bow, and Naofumi would then think so, man. Now after this, the waves get a little easier as Naofumi sends the heroes to other countries, the countries they're supposed to be at, when they're leveling, and he comes to check on them. And meanwhile, he goes to Silk Vet, but that's slavery bullshit. He stops that, and he actually becomes the king of the country, like he said, and no one says anything because he's an apostle. And this, of course, means that Naofumi is staying in the world, and he does not mistreat humans or demi-humans. It depends on your actions. You kill someone, you are going to be killed or in prison. If you're a law-abiding citizen, you live peacefully, and maybe even get some rewards. And by the way, Mine dies while in that loop. Like, for years to come, she dies, and she never learned her lesson, which kind of sucks. But the king does come out after a month, becoming a new man, but then he realizes that he cannot be king regardless. And if any of you are saying, oh, he's irredeemable, he's definitely redeemable. It would just take some fucked up shit, which is what Naofumi did to him. But he also is not going to be king no more. And Mine is irredeemable. That girl has a serious, like, mental issue. That's not even a joke. Mine is shown to be a big pathological liar. She is mentally not okay. She actually will die. Like, she will never change. I don't care. So the author would never make that happen because he knows that is bullshit. If it's a woman that's the author, I really don't care. It really does not matter. It's a good series anyway. Anyway, the heroes actually now cooperate and are telling to become Naofumi's sort of knight. And Naofumi is just known as the kind of like a magic king of sorts, like the wizard king from Black Clover, because this dude can use every single attribute, which shows even more his power. And Silk Vet expands. You know, they contact other countries. They do all that stuff. But also Asuka becomes the queen of Philolials, but her group lives in the kingdom as a part of it, getting the protection of Naofumi. And Vatora is happy that Naofumi is able to provide such a safe space for them. And that's about it. Whatever happens next is, of course, up to you. I don't know if this is going to be up to 1 hour. Hopefully it's not, because that just shows how much editing I have to do myself before this is released. Hopefully I don't have to edit too much. I fucking stuttered so much during this video. You don't even know, bro. Anyway, by the way, there was this thing that I mentioned at the end of what if Deku was Yami's reincarnation. I was trying to show you guys a picture that I drew, and I forgot to even add it in editing. I'm sorry about that. Here it actually is. And if I forgot it again, holy shit, I hate myself. I'll just post it in the community post. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is the end of the series. This is the finale of it. Sorry it took like 6-7 months, but I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, you know, like, dislike. Oh wait, you can't dislike anymore. YouTube gotta bring that shit back, seriously. But yeah, seriously though, you know, like this video if you like it, and other videos will be coming. I'll be working on what if Naruto had the Ito no Mi's powers, or you know, Dofi's powers, and I'll try to make it as fun as possible. And if I can't make it because of writer's block, I'll just choose another series. You guys have like left me a bunch of ideas to pick from. But yeah, see you guys later. Peace.